Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to everyone in Burlington, Massachusetts, where this bright stuff outside is called the sun. If anyone watching online is local to this area, you may need a reintroduction. If anyone is watching from the West Coast or any sunny location like that, we envy you. My name is Gina Reganini. I'm the Director of Educational Initiatives at Northeastern Alumni Relations, and I'm so glad to welcome those of you in person and those of you watching online to our NU at Noon and Husky How To collaboration, Maintaining Health as You Age. So for folks who are in person, we'll be getting up and moving a bit with our presenters. Folks at home, we'll have a brief presentation and then you can make some space around yourselves and move along with us. I'm really excited to welcome Dr. Winston Kennedy and Kashal Alexander, who will be presenting. First, I do want to give a short description of each program. You might be wondering, what is NU at Noon? Or you might be wondering, what is Husky How To? So NU at Noon is our programming series geared at folks right around retirement age, though anyone is welcome to join us. So if you ever see an NU at Noon program and you're interested, we would love to see you there. And Husky How To is our virtual series on any kind of topic that you can put a how-to spin on. So as you'll see with today's presentation, there's a lot of movement and health-related discussion, but we've had ones on landscaping and children's education and financial information. So we encourage you to check out those recordings on our YouTube channel. And the recording for today's session will be put on our YouTube channel as well if you'd like to go back and rewatch. Without further ado, I'd love to welcome Dr. Kennedy and Cal to the microphone to get started. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us here in person and both at home. We're here to talk about maintaining health as you age. All right, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Dr. Winston Kennedy. I have a bachelor's in psychology from Hampton University. I got my doctorate in physical therapy from Florida International University in 2015. I practiced for about a year and a half working with the 65 plus population and individuals with neurological conditions. I then went on to pursue a PhD in a Master of Public Health at Oregon State University in adapted physical activity and kinesiology, which is what kind of led me to be able to put a presentation like this together. I am currently an assistant professor at Northeastern University in the Department of Physical Therapy, Movement, and Rehabilitation Sciences and Public Health and Health Sciences, where my research focuses on promotion of physical activity for individuals with disabilities and from diverse backgrounds. I currently direct the Tribe Lab, which stands for Translational Research for Inclusion, Belonging, and Equity, where the main initiative is to promote access to physical activity and health equity for diverse groups with an emphasis on people with disabilities. And I'll introduce my PhD student and assistant director, Kelshaw Alexander.
Hi everyone, I'm pleased to be here with you guys. My name is Kelshaw Alexander. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, so if at times I speak a bit fast, you can easily raise your hand and I will slow down if I can. I have a degree in exercise and sports science at the University of the Cumberlands, minor in public health. Like I mentioned, I'm a first year PhD student, assistant director of the Tribe Lab. Currently, I am focusing on adaptive physical activity for individuals, specifically with a wheelchair. Like I mentioned, I'm a first year, so I'm just getting into the thick of things, and I'm happy to be here with you guys today.
All right, so what we'll be doing today is we'll discuss health and aging. We'll then talk about physical activity and its benefits. We'll discuss aging and disability, and then we'll kind of give some general tips on how to stay active, and then we'll get into moving. All right, so before we begin, we just want to ask you guys a couple questions.
So I would like to ask you guys, what is health? And you guys can raise your hands and just give a quick brief answer if you can. What is health to you guys? Yep.
This is off the top.
Of course, yep.
The physical and mental state of your mind and body, or the wellness of it.
Yeah, excellent. Anyone else?
I would say part of it would be being able to adapt if you have a physical issue.
Excellent,
Being
yeah.
able to find, all right, so I can't run anymore, I can do this.
Exactly.
So even if you have some physical concerns, you can still keep exercising.
Exactly, perfect. And what is your health supposed to decline as you age? How does that question sound to you guys? What do you guys think about that? Is your health supposed to decline as you age?
Health
John?
is being able to do things, certain sets of things, and think certain ways. I accept it declines, and I can't do the same things at the same intensity I used to, but I can still do a lot of the same things. And thinking-wise, you sort of realize that after a while, you do forget a little more, but it may be because you're distracted more. So yeah, it's declining, but it's not like falling off a cliff.
Excellent. Anyone else? No? Okay. Well, that's a really good answer, and it's all about variability and adapting as we go. So I think that's a really good outlook. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for answering those questions. So right here we have a chart that shows the year, life expectancy, and growth rate. So what we have on the right, we have from 1968 to 1950. At 1950, the life expectancy was about 68 years. We go up all the way to 1968 and improves to 70. Then on the left, we have from 2005 to 2023. And we see that change of life expectancy go from 77 to 79. So what that shows us is there's a trend of the life expectancy increasing over time, right? As time goes on, we get health advances, better medical equipment. Right now, AI is everywhere. Soon enough, AI will be integrated into health. We'll have, new advances, new technology, access to different medicines. It is expected that the overall life expectancy will continue to increase, right? So we'll be living longer, right? So since we're living longer, we're aging longer. What is aging? What does that mean? Aging is a dynamic process in which physical and mental capacities, functional ability, and the environment interact. Additionally, it is a biological result from the lifelong accumulation of molecular and cellular damage caused by multiple mechanisms under the regulation of a complex maintenance and repair network. Right. So it's this dynamic interaction between how you exist in your environment, the things that you do, the things that you experience, as well as the biological and physiological response to those experiences and the things that's going on. Right. Very, very intricate. Right. But what aging gives us is experience to experience different things. Right. And we asked you all what was health. We got some great answers, and y'all pretty much hit it on the money. Health is a dynamic state of complete physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity, right? So living longer does not mean living longer and healthier, right? And the goal is to live long and to live healthy, right? How we talk about that in health and healthcare is we talk about that in terms of quality of life, right? And we'll talk about that, a little later. Right, so healthy aging, right? What do we mean by that? The process of developing and maintaining capacity and ability that enables well-being in older age. We're aging healthy. We want to do a lot of things we were doing when we were younger, right? I want to be able to go out. I want to be able to hang out with my friends. I want to be able to engage in different activities. All those things are incorporated in aging healthy, right? So neither capacity nor ability remains constant over time. I think we had a response that says, yeah, as we get older, we're generally going to decline in some areas. Some things may become more difficult. We may have an accident or things become a little bit difficult, but, it's not supposed to do a nosedive, right? Not supposed to jump off a cliff. We want to be able to do a lot of the things we could do when we were younger as we age, So in both tend to decline, but the rate at which they decrease may be different depending on people's life choices or interventions at any point during their life course, right? So when we're thinking about healthy aging, we're, like I said before, we're thinking about that quality of life, right? So the definition of quality of life, individuals' perception of their position in life in the context of the culture and value system where they live in relation to their goals, expectations, standards, and concerns, right? So this is very individualized, and it has to deal with, how you were brought up, your prior experiences, different influential things in your life, right? Subjected to the individual, it may include autonomy, how much independence you have, your relationships that influence you, your rights, emotional, physical, and material well-being, social roles and activities, home and neighborhood. For me, I played football in college. Being able to, run around and play football and catch the ball and throw it around is something I want to be able to do, well into my 70s. Am I doing all the things to be able to maintain that on that trajectory? Probably not, but I'm working on it, right? But that's how, for me and my quality of life, that'll be one of the things that I incorporate in if I'm doing the things I'm supposed to do, right? So the next thing I want to mention is this idea of frailty, right? This is the state of increased vulnerability and inability to overcome changes in physical status. And I think someone mentioned that health is being able to adapt and being able to adjust to new situations. This is where this idea of frailty can come in, right? It's a clinical expression that implies concern over an older person's vulnerability and prognosis. So if you see this graph up here, it has a line that says functional abilities, and then there's an arrow pointing to independent and then dependent, right? Then there's the example of a minor illness and a UTI. UTI stands for urinary tract infection. So the higher you are in independence and able to have more, functional abilities, if a minor illness or issue comes up, you're going to have a little dip, but you're able to be resilient and recover and return back to that high functional status that you once were at. Versus if you were on this measure closer to that being dependent, needing a lot of assistance, needing a lot of help with doing various activities, if you have a minor illness like a UTI, your ability to recover from that becomes a lot harder, right? And this is why, this is where health is important. This is why we're going to be talking about physical activity and getting you moving in a little bit, because we want to promote that independence, that higher quality of life, and being able to, stay closer to being able to do the things we want to do independently. Any questions on anything so far? Makes sense, right? Pretty straightforward. Cool. All right. Sedentary behavior, right? This essentially means long periods of inactivity, sitting too much. As we get older, sedentary behavior becomes more common, right? As you hit retirement, sedentary behavior becomes more common, right? Your obligations to society, have become fulfilled. Kids are out the house. It's easier with the access to technology, iPads, and all the screens, it's easy to sit, watch, and still feel engaged. We don't like sedentary behavior, right? It's associated with shorter lifespan, increased risk for chronic diseases, increased likelihood of isolation, increased deterioration of physical ability, right? And this also causes increased secondary aging, which is aging caused by disease and environmental factors, right? So for secondary aging, if you're at risk for increased chronic diseases like diabetes, heart disease, stroke, that increases your secondary aging, which leads to just overall poor health, right? Make sense? So that's just to give you a little background on health, aging, and why these things are so important, right?
So tell me, guys, this is a quick question, just to break up the flow a bit. What are the benefits of being active as you age to you in your individual life? If you can give me a quick example, anyone?
improved joint function and arthritis and things like that.
It does. Yep. Take one more.
Better balance.
Great, excellent. Yep. Yep. I mean, I can go as well. What are benefits of being active for me? For me, it keeps my body feeling like a well-oiled machine. If I take 3-4 days break, I feel like I'm too achy because I have a lot of pre-existing injuries. So it keeps me moving, and physical activity keeps me moving throughout the day, throughout the week. So yeah, it's keep me active and feeling like a well-oiled machine. Anyone else? I'll take one more before we transition. Yep.
Well, I know when I'm inactive, I feel stiffer all the time. And when I'm more active, some of these things that used to bother me, like sleeping, wake up stiff when I'm not active. When I'm active, I wake up act like I tell her. I don't feel stiff anymore when I get up.
And Dr. Kennedy and I had this discussion earlier in terms of constantly being active versus not being active. And for some reason, I feel more fatigue when I'm not active versus when I am able to get some workout in and recover. So, excellent.
All right. Exercise works, right? Exercise has anti-aging effects. On the right, we see a chart that has aging effects, and then it talks about physical exercise effects. So when you exercise, you have increased brain function, decreased neurodegeneration and cognitive alterations, help with thinking and mood and cognition, right? Increased benefits to your cardiovascular function, increased lung function, better breathing, right? Better muscle function, body composition. You look good, feel good. Anyone heard that phrase before? Right? And metabolism, able to digest food and use those resources better, right? Not just physical, social, emotional benefits. Staying active can increase social connectedness, decrease stress and anxiety, boost confidence and self-esteem, can make you more reliable. The make you more reliable one was surprising to me, but research has shown that when you're active and you're engaged in physical activity with a group, you have more, it gives you a sense of responsibility and accountability to other people, to your community, keeps you more engaged, right? So what is appropriate physical activity, especially as you age, right? One way that I think of, I like to talk about how to think about it is getting messy with physical activity. All right, what does that mean? And the emphasis is on the MES part of it, right? So M stands for meaningful, right? Meaningful means impactful to your health, right? E is enjoyable. If it's enjoyable, you're more likely to do it consistently, right? And S is safe. Likelihood of injury, or it decreases your likelihood of injury or adverse event when you make sure it's safe, it feels good, and it's tolerable. And then the SY, Kelshaw told me this today, SY stands for staying youthful, right? So you keep it messy with physical activity, you're on track to make sure you're moving and you're staying engaged. In general, there's a lot of different types of physical activity you can do. There's strength training, lifting weights with resistance. There's mobility training. So you're basically getting active to make sure you can move in different ways. There's endurance training, making sure you can do things for a bout of time, 5-10 minutes, might go for a walk or a jog or something like that. And then there's balance and coordination training when you're doing things to challenge your stability and how you move, right? So most importantly, you move how you can when you can, and you figure out a way to get messy with it, right? That's meaningful, enjoyable, and safe.
So guys, what things make it easier to be physically active as you age? That could be anything. That could be from something personal to the social environment. I'll repeat again, what things make it easier to be physically active as you age? Or harder. Could answer either one.
I think one thing is the weather.
Well, I can attest to that. Being here almost a year, I haven't gotten accustomed to it just yet. I pack for all weather within 1 day, so I agree. Second.
I was going to say meeting a goal. For instance, in the winter, I shovel my own driveway. It gives me a feeling that I've met a goal. So, yeah.
Making your activity weather independent. We set ourselves up a little gym in the basement so we don't worry about the weather. We can do our exercises anytime. It's also easy, you just go downstairs and just stick.
Excellent, adapting. Nice. Anyone? Yeah.
Actually, in my basement, I have like a little track that I put all the junk in the middle. And I made that way. And I can walk and do several laps right in the basement in the winter.
And that comes into adapting our environment to what we want to do to make activity accessible for us. Yep. We can go on to the second question. What things make it harder? What brings those obstacles?
You go to the senior center for your activities, but now you can't drive.
Oh.
So transportation can, at some,
Yes.
independent of weather, can make it hard sometimes.
Yes. Yes.
And you can feel isolated.
Yep. Anyone else? That's an excellent point.
Or,
Yeah. Yes.
or your eyesight decreasing, to drive. Eyesight
Yeah.
decreasing.
So now you need service probably to come home. Yeah. Understandable. So I think ways that we can work around that is understanding what's available to us in the system. And I think that's a good point in terms of you can't get to the living center anymore. So now we have to find out what systems are there for somebody to come to us, or are there virtual sessions. And then the problem might be eyesight. So do you have someone to facilitate someone with eyesight problems or eyesight accessibility issues online? So those things are obstacles, but I think within the system we are able to find ways to reach each other, whether it's virtually, in person. Next. Oh, sorry.
I just thought of this, I don't have a problem yet, but what if someone has chronic arthritis and all the joints hurt and it makes it painful to be active?
Chronic arthritis and all the joints hurt. What I like to do is break it back to the simplest form, lowest weight as possible. So I take it back to body weight exercises and really low momentum. So for example, I have really poor ankle mobility due to previous injuries, and I have limited range of motion. So with my exercises, I go straight back to basics, no weights, and slow reps, and sometimes hold the time for tension longer. And it is painful, but sometimes I like to take the reps as low as possible and try to work it back up. And then the best thing to always do is receive professional help, but taking the exercises back to the basics and building yourself back up is always something that works for me. And always listening to your body and going to what your body tells you. Because I think that's the most important conversation that we can have, is listen to our body, especially as we age. Because even though we can't do everything, we still can do something. And I'm relatively young, but I have a lot of pre-existing injuries that I can't do what I would like to do or what someone might think I can do. So I still have to do different variations. For squats, I can't do a regular squat after. So it's just listening to your body and working in between that conversation. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. So a lot of your responses provide a nice segue into this topic, physical activity for people with disabilities, right? So when we think about disability, a lot of things can pop into someone's head, right? A person with disability. But disability is the interaction between a person and an environment. For example, an adaptation that many people use from the time that they're young up until they're elderly is glasses to help with vision, right? Many people who use glasses, may or may not consider themselves an individual with a disability, right? But when we use tools to engage with our environment to be able to have access or to be able to utilize something or utilize a tool, that we're addressing disability, right? So whether you age into being a person with a disability, I know a lot of the responses to the question individuals asked about, increased pain, stiffness, needing extra support. right? You can still engage in physical activity if those things, come up, right? Having a pre-existing disability and having become elderly, so you had a disability and you're just aging, right? Physical activity is still for you, right? So appropriate physical activity and disability, things to consider. Kelshaw mentioned this. Work with a health professional who has experience in promoting physical activity for people with disabilities. Now, depending on the type of disability, there might be a specialist who has more experience than others who can work with you individually or with groups. Investigate community fitness programs for people with specific types of disabilities. Connect with others who have similar abilities to gain support and engage in physical activity. Focus on what you can do and not what you can't do. And no matter your ability, you can always get messy with physical activity, right? Think about meaningful, enjoyable, and safe. You consider those factors, there's something that you can do to stay active, no matter what, all right? So this comes from the National Institute of Aging through the federal government, 5 tips to help you stay motivated to exercise. As we get older, things come up, and they're just different reasons why, we may or may not be able to engage in physical activity. Here are 5 tips to kind of get over that hump, right? 1, find ways to fit exercise into your day, right? You are more likely to get moving if exercise is a convenient part of your day, whether that's going out into the garden, having a gym, setting up a gym in your basement, walking laps in your basement, having equipment by the TV, doing some curls during a commercial, calling a friend and saying, hey, remind me to do these squats, at 3 o'clock and we can do them together. Doing those things and setting that up preemptively can help you with getting through that, right? Do activities you enjoy to make it more fun. Staying active, it doesn't just have to be those kind of same exercises you see. You can go out and dance, you can go, you can play games with it. You can play games with people, you can learn to play video games. There's a whole new section of exercise video games called exer games. How many of y'all have ever played with the Nintendo Wii and did like Wii bowling or anything like that? There are a whole line of video games that are meant to get you moving and active now,
What app would that be?
App?
App, well, don't you need an app for that?
Well, you need a video gaming console. But there are, I believe there are apps that might have certain kind of exercise games where it could track you through your camera and might tell you to move, and you get points. Yeah. I don't know any specific ones, but now you've gave me some homework. I'm going to look up those apps and have those. Oh, well, okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
On YouTube, there are a lot of walking videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it can be you walk a mile, you walk 2 miles, some are gentle, some are
Yeah.
active.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. Utilizing YouTube. Yeah.
The weather's better.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And there's on the technology front, there's a lot of stuff going on with virtual reality. I don't know how many of y'all have been able to experience virtual reality with the goggles and different activities. Well, if you like experimenting, it might be fun to try, a couple of those things out. Make it social. Find a virtual exercise buddy to help keep you going and provide emotional support. With iPhones and different, your Android phone, you can video call your friend, and kind of talk to them and engage in activity. Make it social, connect with other people to help, create that push. All right. If there's a break in your routine, get back on track. One of the easiest things to do is if you stop working out is to just continue not working out. Don't be hard on yourself and just start back when you can. Don't think about what you were doing before. Start where you're at now and just keep going from there. This is one of the things that I, struggle with, being like playing collegiate football. And you think about, the things you were able to do. And then, 10 years later, you're like, oh, I should be able to run a mile in like 7 minutes. And I can barely walk a mile right now, but I'm getting there. Get back in your routine, just get back on it, and, just stay consistent. right? Keep track of your progress, right? Make an exercise plan and don't forget to reward yourself when you reach your goals. Someone mentioned having goals. Perfect, right? You go for a walk for 5 minutes. Maybe next week you want to go for 10 minutes, or you even go smaller. I did 5 minutes, let me do 6 minutes. And maybe the goal is to stay consistent. I want to walk 10 minutes a day for 2 weeks, and then you reevaluate. Keeping track and making those goals attainable and achievable help with that motivation to stay consistent. All right. So in summary, people are living longer, but that does not include living healthier. Aging is an inherent part of life, and quality of life is an important indicator on the health trajectory of aging. Physical activity can assist with having a high quality of life as you age due to its ability to positively impact health. Staying active can be difficult, but it can be done. Make sure your physical activity is messy so you can get the most out of it. And sometimes things come up and you cannot be active or do not want to be. That's okay, but get back to it as soon as you can. All right? So, do we have any questions about anything?
Before we get up and move.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I promised I wouldn't ask. I have an exercise partner, she's right there.
Yes.
I played sports when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I did it in college.
Yeah.
But I get very aware of what my body was doing, and I can feel. And she says that she's not aware of muscles being tense, and she doesn't know how to tense and relax muscles. Is there some little tip you can give people who just don't have that body awareness to become more aware of their body?
Okay, so the question was, is there a way to help with being aware of how your body feels when you're active?
Yeah.
I would say, are you familiar with like practicing mindfulness? Oh, okay. Huh? Yeah, so mindfulness practice is basically being aware of your current state in the present moment. So you can start by doing that when you're not active. So if you're sitting, low stimulus, you can kind of close your eyes, you can ask yourself, how's my head feeling? How are my shoulders feeling? How are my arms feeling? And you kind of do that constantly to kind of just get a general idea of how you're feeling. And then you take that same practice into, when you're being active, when you feel comfortable, and you kind of build on it like that. I know it might sound kind of silly, like, oh, just sit still and think about how I'm feeling. Yeah.
You do that relaxed.
Yep.
You take a little dumbbell and you do this and say, how does the muscle feel different?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you kind of start slow from there because it's very important to be aware of how you're feeling when you're moving to prevent injury, especially if you're trying something new or if you're trying to increase the intensity. You want to be aware of how you're feeling so so you can keep it safe. And you want to say something?
So I just wanted to add that, I was going to preface it to start the workout in terms of you want to incorporate a mind-body connection, and the way I was going to do that is call out every body part we were going to work on, and that would help in terms of, because you know what you're working on, you're going to incorporate that mind-body connection, all right? So we're going to start off with the row. I'm working my scapulars, so you want to make sure you have that in your mind, what you are working on. So you're intentively thinking about it rather than just going through the motion, okay, I'm doing rows. But if you know what you're working, all right, I'm working my scapulars. When I pull, so you're actively thinking about it in the moment. So if you're doing quads, you can think about your quads in the moment. You're doing hamstrings, think about hamstrings in the moment, and working through that mind-body connection of, all right, how am I feeling? How are my shoulders? How am my back feeling in the moment? So I don't know if that helps as well, but just having that mind-body connection with the specific muscle group you are working with at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know if I hope that helps. Any more questions?
All right, that looks like people want to get moving. So Kelso here is going to be leading the movement activity. I'll be his helpful assistant.
So, like I mentioned, I'm going to start it as I already started in terms of with every muscle that we're going to work on, I'll pay attention to mention it and stating it outright. So you want to have an idea of what we're working on. So you want to think about it during the exercise as well. So we want to get the maximum effort throughout. So we're going to get moving through this exercise routine format. 2 sets of 10 seated or standing. The preference is up to you. I want to ask you guys, it's up to me, but I want to ask you guys, do you want to do 2 sets back to back, or do you want to go through one full and we come back through again? So it's 10 exercises, and it's going to be really quick, but we can do it back to back, which adds more fatigue on the body, on the muscle group, because you're doing 2 exercises back to back. Yep. Okay, sounds good. And so total body, safe, accessible, and engaging, and we're going to incorporate the messy framework, and we want to stay youthful. And when I incorporate the stay youthful phrase, I just thought about the mental aspect of it, in terms of we want to always not just tell ourselves we are young, but stay youthful in terms of we can still move no matter what age we get. Not because we are getting older, that doesn't mean we can't always move. We just have to adapt. So we are going to start. I'm going to ask, does anyone have any preference in standing or sitting? Does everyone want to sit? If you are sitting, I would say you want to give yourself some space, some arm's length space, because we are going to be doing some lateral shoulder raises. We don't want to injure anyone in the process. And also, if you can probably take a step back from the table itself, so you won't, yeah. I think you're good there. You're fine there. So who would like to sit? That's fine. You can also use the chair as a prop, so you can stand by the chair in case you're off balance during any of the exercises. So sit, stand, a combination of both is okay as well. So to begin with, we are going to begin with a warm-up just to get the blood flowing through the body. We are going to start with the ankle. And so the ankle is going to be heel, toe taps. You want to get the toes up in front and then the heel up in the back. And we're trying to get 10 repetitions with that, and then we're going to relax. But just remember, if this is off balance, you can use the chair or the table to support yourself if you feel like you're going off balance. All right, so we're going to go up on our toes, and then get the toes up in front. 1. Don't worry, just don't forget to use the chair as a prop if you need, and also you can do the sitting if it's uncomfortable standing. 5. Sometimes I go off balance as well, that's fine. Let's get 2 more.
Looking good.
And relax. So just want to say, you guys could start without holding the chair, just if you want to test yourself, and then you could always hold on if you feel off balance and work through it. So now we're going to get some shoulder rolls, and we want to get the shoulder rolls as big as possible, and what we're going to do is just get it coming forward. So we're going to go 10 forward and 10 backward, and you could start off getting it really small and then increase the range as we go. And we're working the shoulder, as I mentioned, so you want to just be mindful. And reverse, so you're going to go backward now. Good job, guys. Remember, it's about how you feel and not how the person next to you is doing. So just think about how your shoulders feel, and if you feel like it's good, that's good enough. Keep going, guys, looking good. And relax. So now we're going to incorporate the entire body with marching on the spot. The marching on the spot could be in chair, could be holding on. You can incorporate your hands if you feel like, but we want to just march in the spot for about 30 seconds, and we're just getting it really light. Just the foot high up as you can. As I mentioned, we're listening to our body. Good job, guys. It's a physically active group. Okay. Everyone is standing. Nice.
Looking good, everybody.
Yeah. And relax. Good job, everyone. Good job. Ideally, I would go through that for another round just to incorporate and just make sure the blood is well flowing. But how are we feeling so far? Are we feeling prime? Good. Good?
Feeling good.
Wonderful. So we're just going to get deeper into the workout, and we're going to start with the row, as I mentioned before. So we are incorporating the shoulder blades in the back, like as I mentioned, and we want to just be mindful to be able to get the most out of it. And so our hands at shoulder length and also shoulder height. And what we want to do is retract, but we want to hold for 2 seconds. If 2 seconds is too much, you can release in 1 second or half a second. and we're going to go for 10 to 15. And just remember, you want to squeeze and just be mindful of those shoulder blades. Good job, everyone. 5, good job, keep going. Just remember, the longer we hold at the back is the harder the exercise is. That is in case anyone feel like it's too easy and then need some difficulty. Good job, guys. One more. And relax. How everyone feeling? How are shoulder blades feeling? How are you? Do you feel a difference? A little something there? Anything in the back? A little bit? Nothing in the back? Okay, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So now we are gonna go into heel raises, and this is similar to what we were doing just to begin with, but it's isolated and it's only calf raises, and it's not the toe to the heel. It's just coming up on the ball of your feet, hold, back down. And if you need the prop with this one, that is okay as well, just to maintain that hold, that 1 second hold. And we're going for 10 to 15. Similar to the row, if you hold these for a second or two longer, the difficulty would increase and you would feel more tension in the area. Good job, guys. Halfway there. You want to get on the ball as high as you possibly can, personally. Nice job, guys. 2 more. 2, 1. Good job, guys. So, and I just wanted to preface that we're going to be going top, we're going legs upper, just to give each muscle group some rest in between, and because of the transition, it's going to be a bit short in between. So we're going to go into lateral shoulder raises and some space in between. So we want to come shoulder height and back down. But for this one again, we're going to hold for 2 seconds. 1, 2, back down. We're going to go for 10. Good job, guys. And we are working the shoulder group here, just to be mindful, just to listen to your body, understand how it's feeling. If you can hold for a second longer, if 2 seconds is too long, that's fine. I'm loving the pace. 2 more, 2. And rest. Good job, everyone. So, we did heel raises, we're now going to do toe raises, and it's easy to go off balance, so if you really need the prop, it's fine. And we're just going to get the toes coming up in front, working the muscle that's running along the frontier part of the ankle, towards along the shin bone towards the knee. So we're just going to get the toes up in front as high as you possibly can. My range of motion is not as I would like it to be, so just go to your preference, and we're going to get 10 toe raises coming up in the front. It feels awkward, but it's really important. And sometimes, for me personally, it's something that I don't work out as much as I should. It's a balance, but also an ankle mobility thing. It is, yep. Yeah, it is. It's very, yep. Good job, guys. Good job. So for the yes, up and just toes up. Just only toes up, yeah? Good job. 2 more. Good job, guys. And relax. So we're going to transition quickly into another shoulder exercise. And this is going to be front raises. So instead of lateral, we are coming up in front. And it's similar. It's just a different section of the shoulder. And we're going to be doing the same thing where we want to hold for 2 seconds if it's comfortable to you, and back down. If it's too easy, you guys can see. Good job, everyone. And 1 more. Good job, everyone. So just shake out the arms. We're going to transition into the lower body, but before we do that, we are going to incorporate some twists to just get some blood flowing through the torso and the spine. So we want to interlock our fingers. So we're going to be going side to side. And for this one especially, we want to start off very slow because the spine we are incorporating. And as we get comfortable, so you can get some arch in your elbows and go to as far as you possibly can. And as we go, so we want to go for about 5 reps each side. And as you feel comfortable, you can increase the range. Good job, everyone. Just incorporate a regular breath in between. Don't hold your breath for too long. Excellent job, everyone.
That's a great point. In no exercise should you be holding your breath. Always breathe consistently.
And this can also be done seated as well. So if you're home, sometimes you're in the office and you're feeling stiff, you could easily incorporate these just to get flexible with the spine and upper back as well, and lower back. So now we're going to get into some leg exercises. We're going to get into some side leg raises. For this one, you possibly would need the a chair to prop, because you're going to be standing up on one leg and getting one foot to the side, coming up as far as you possibly can. If this is all you can do, and if this is fatiguing, this is right here is good enough for you. If you can come foot up, that is fine as well. So you're going to get 10 on each leg coming up to the side. You can use a prop if you like. So let's go. 1, 2, and this is going to be working the side of the hamstrings, your glutes, also the lower back portion. Good job, guys. I did some workouts yesterday, so I'm sore. 2 more, and then we switch to the next side, and then we go to the next side. Wonderful range I'm seeing, guys. Good job. Why did you stop, sir?
He's
He
a
tried to
drill
cut our
sergeant.
workout short.
He is a-
What does he do?
I thought I did on my reps.
And relax. So the leg exercises are going to be back to back. So if you feel fatigue, we can take a longer break in between transition, but it's also working different section of the leg, so it may be okay. So we're going to get in heel flicks, and heel flicks is simply just getting the heel to come as close to the glutes as possible, working on your quads. So you're just going to get the heels coming as far, one leg at a time, heel coming as far to your glutes as possibly can. And we're going to get 10 reps on each leg. And if you need to hold on for balance, that's okay. So we work on the quads in case you just want to incorporate that mind-body connection of just understanding what exactly you're working out. And as you reach 10, don't forget to switch. Good job, everyone. All these are ways to even work on your balance while you're even doing another exercise as well. How's everyone feeling? Good. Good job, everyone. And relax. So, as I mentioned, balance, we are now going to incorporate a balance exercise, and that is simply standing up on one leg with the other leg just up off the ground. You can, for assistance, you can have the leg that's in the air attached to the standing leg, and if you need, you can hold on to the chair or hold on for assistance. And we want to do that for, let's say, 30 seconds each leg. If you feel like you need to reset, that's okay. And begin. That's fine. That's excellent. Yep. Close your eyes and see if that adds difficulty, but hold on if you need to. I'll get you. Yeah, that's actually. And switch.
Yeah, these are a tough one.
Yep, and excellent. Putting out your hand do help with balance as well. So if you feel like excellent. Yeah, that is excellent. So just testing the balance till you feel like you can't hold anymore, and then hold on. That is an excellent way of building up your capacity to improve your balance. And the last exercise before cool down, we are going to incorporate squats. And squats you can do seated squats, you can do assisted squats, holding as far as you can go, and then back up you can do unassisted. It all depends on your level and your comfort. So I'll give you the preference to choose any squats you would like. Because, for example, I can't do regular squats because of my ankle mobility, so I either have to go wider or use plates under my heel. So any variation that's comfortable for you. We're going to get 10, and some already started. That's perfect. And go. 1, 2, good job, everyone. 3, 4. Great job. Yep, hack squats, even right here, is excellent as well. Great job, everyone. And one more, and rest. I said cool down, but we do have a second round. Haha.
PT said if you squat at something, you can hold your balance better. So if you squat at something just above head level,
Okay.
that actually works.
Oh yeah, if you focus your gaze on something, it helps you kind of.
That is excellent, actually. So how does everyone feel after the first round? Everyone feel it was too easy, moderate, perfect? 2 thumbs up? Okay, excellent. The main thing is variation, listening to your body, and like I mentioned, it could be seated, it could be standing. The intensity could increase by you, even without weights. It could be increased by 2 bottles of water in your hands with the shoulder raises. It's all about time under tension, and time under tension could be added just by you holding for 3 seconds rather than just doing rapid. So it's all about variation. So for the second round, you can add an extra second if you feel like I want to test how this feels holding it longer, or we can just go through it just like how you went through. So it's just about understanding how you feel and adjusting as you go. Because after the first workout, you might feel a lot stronger by moving your body and getting the blood flowing. So we are going to go back into the row, and something I also pay attention to when I'm working out, especially with the row, when we get our hands up and we come back normal, our elbows drop. So just for this last one, I would like to incorporate turning the elbows upward so we can incorporate the upper back. Now, if that's uncomfortable, you can let me know and you can go back regular. So so this is the normal stance, and we're going to get our elbows pointing upward, come back. So you want to target the upper back with this one. If you feel that, if it's too difficult, let me know. Right, and we're going to begin. Let's get 9 more. 2, you can still hold for 2 seconds if you can. And this change is just to be able to incorporate the upper back rather than the lower portion of the back with the row. If you guys are feeling a difference, you can let me know. If not, you can also let me know. Good job. And relax. Good job, everyone. So, just because it's the second round, I would incorporate just making it a bit difficult if you like and if you're able to. That's just something I try to incorporate when I'm working out. And it helps build the capacity as you go, and it also makes it fun. And that's something about working out as well, in terms of we want to make it fun and we want to make it enjoyable while we're competing. But we're not competing with anyone, we're competing with ourselves. Depending on, all right, did I do 10 reps yesterday? How did I feel with the 10 reps yesterday? And how would I feel with 12? And just always testing yourself in between. So we're going to go with heel raises, and you want to hold on, because you want to see if you're going to incorporate 2 seconds hold rather than just a rapid 1. So as you come up on the ball of your feet, 1, 2, back down. 1, 2, and as I mentioned, if 2 seconds is too long, 1 second and back down is fine as well. Good job, everyone. 5, 6, 1, 2, 11. Good job. 8, nice job. Nice job. And relax. Right, so we're going to get back into shoulder raises, and similar. If you're going to hold for 2-3 seconds, it would incorporate it and make it slightly difficult, and let's see if that makes you feel a bit different. So let's go. Good job, everyone. Good job, everyone. Nice job. And relax. And we're going to go into the toe raises. Don't forget, if you need the whole one, that's fine again. And go to your 10 toe raises. This one, you don't have, this one is awkward, so you can hold for 1 second with this one. And begin. As far as up as you can go.
This is tough. These are tough.
Yeah. Yeah. This is awkward, but the more we do it, personally, I do feel more movement, more mobility within my ankles, just incorporating these ones. And relax. So you're gonna go back into the front arm raises, topping off the shoulders before we go back into the lower body. And so you're gonna get shoulder height and all the shoulder width apart and begin. So you get 2-3 seconds up if you can, and back down. Don't forget to control your breathing in between, which is very important. And relax. So with the twist, I mentioned that we're going to start off very slow and moderate. Oh, thank you. To begin with, so the second one, if you are able to, you can go a bit further, but it all depends on your range of motion. I'm going to get 10 each side if possible. This one is really important to breathe in between. Try exhaling when you reach to one side, and that sometimes helps increase the range of motion as you release. And relax. Just shake it out as we go towards the legs. So back into side raises. Don't kick anyone if possible. And begin. Good job, everyone. Where are we feeling this exercise? Nice, yep. And switch. My co-presenter is cutting all our workouts short, but it's fine. I'm just kidding. So we are going to get into heel flicks, and as far as to your glutes as possible, one leg at a time. Good job, everyone. Working up the quads. And this will also build strength and elasticity within the knee as well, and also in and around the knee area. And switch. Good job, everyone. And relax. So who's ready for some balance again? And like my good friend John mentioned, if you can find a target to look at, it may help just with your focus on being able to maintain that balance. And we're gonna let's go for 20 seconds each leg, and begin. Good job, everyone, good job. And switch to the opposite leg. And relax. So before our actual cool down, we're going to get into some squats. Alright, so if you need you're going to say something? Oh, I thought you were going to say something. So in case in your chair, as far down as possible, but this hack squat is totally fine. So you're going to get into, let's go for 15 squats to end off if possible, and begin. Good job, everyone. Lovely. An extra 5 if you personally can. Wonderful, everyone. So, we're going to transition into our cool down, which is easily neglected when it comes to physical activity by myself, first and foremost, and it helps with longevity and also being able to recover for the following activity that you would like to do the next day, even if it's just simply going to work or doing something in the yard. Because physical activity do tend to obviously get us fatigued, and then if we don't stretch, the muscles basically get tight. You can definitely have a seat, sorry. And the muscles definitely tend to get tight, so being able to cool down afterwards and sometimes stretch if you're embarking on strenuous exercise helps recovery and also being able to rebound from the fatigue from the actual exercise. So to begin the deep breathing, this can be done standing, but I think it's perfect if we do these sitting. So to begin with, we want to begin with deep breathing, and it's a simple inhale through your nose, exhale, and just being mindful, like Dr. Kennedy mentioned before. This is a part where you want to just be mindful and understand where you're at and how you're feeling, and just kind of take the blood flow and the heart rate back down to get back into a regular mode. So you're just going to follow me. We're going to do deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, deep breath out. Get 2 more of those. Deep breath in, deep breath out. 1 more time. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Great job, everyone. So we're just going to get some gentle neck rolls, and I say gentle because it's easy to just work our neck wrong and wrong, but we just want to incorporate some gentle neck rolls because it's important, especially because we're working out shoulder areas, back areas, and those are connected areas to the neck, so you want to be able to cool down the entire body. So we're going to be going clockwise and counterclockwise, so we're just going to be going 5 times one direction, 5 times the other direction. So you're going to be going one direction 5 times, very slow, guys. Get that chin up in the air, and then the chin touching your chest or as low as possible as you come around. Just 2 more. 1 more. Next direction. One more, guys. And relax. So it's not in here, but we're just going to get some ears to shoulder. So we're going to go left to right, front to back, at least 2 or 3 times, just to work that out again. At your pace. One more time. And relax. So we're going to get some side stretches. This is to go off of the side twist you were getting, and these twists, you're going to get your hands up, interlock the fingers, and you're going to be coming to one side as far as you possibly can, and back center. So when I get back center, you want to take a deep breath in, and as you go to one side, you release. Back center, deep breath in. Center, deep breath in. One side. Center, deep breath in. One more time. One more deep breath. And 2 hands to the side. One more up. And down. Deep breath out. And that's it, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
How do you guys feel overall? Mobility?
I can't believe I feel so good.
Yeah.
From here to feel terrible and worn out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yep. Yep.
Awesome.
And that is one of the most important things is not, I did personal training before I came to the US last year, and I tell everyone you want to start slow and build up rather than start at a moderate pace and you're feeling, okay, why did I get into this? And now you have to reset. So you want to start at a pace that it feels good and you feel excited to do the next workout and build from there rather than you start what you see somebody else doing and you're already challenged from the start. So it's hard to increase or improve from there. So that's the emphasis on workouts like this, make it fun, accessible, and then you add a teammate or a partner and you guys get into it together. So thank you guys again.
You're a great
Yep.
job. Great job.
Thank you.